All right, Bonsai! Like I'm a kamikaze fighter. Guys, welcome back. This is Eric here with Guitarsenal, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new-ish JHS Bonsai pedal. And this is, I got a cheat sheet, a really cool little pedal that integrates a lot of classic green boxes, if you know what I mean, and you catch my drift, the Tube Screamer and variants of the Tube Screamer. And what they set out to do with this pedal was basically capture the voices of a ton of remarkable pedals. A lot of pedals that in recent years have gone up in price a lot due to demand for their vintage sound. Also, a certain guitar slinger from Texas has made quite a few of them popular. So obviously people, you know, kind of seek out those tones. And of course it drives the prices of the pedals up quite a bit. In this particular case, they've done a great job of recreating a lot of unique voices in these older boxes, okay? We're going to go down the line here. I borrowed this particular unit from the kind folks over at Atlanta Discount Music. If this is something that floats your boat and you want to get one, they're the people to go through. Good folks. They'll take care of you. All right, Bonsai. 9 of the most iconic green overdrives in one pedal. Let the Bonsai help you find your overdrive zen. I saw what y'all did there. Y'all took a stab at the Alfonso Hermida Zen drive, but that's okay. All right, and it's not green, it's white. It's because it's white, isn't it? When it's not green, that's okay. All right, controls, volume, drive, tone, and your version selector. So basically you keep the same tone stack and the same overall controls that you would get in most of the older Tube Screamer variants. But in this case, you can basically just select the modes, which changes the voice of the Tube Screamer. Now, one thing that I do notice is when you have the volume up on the instrument, if you do pop one of the selector switches over, it does have an audible noise that you'll hear when you switch it over. Go ahead and demonstrate. So see, it does make a noise. So just make sure your volume's down. So if you're at a gig or something and you want to change the sound, you want to make sure the volume's down on the guitar, or you will hear, obviously, an audible click through the amp. All right, the first one, OD1. Overall, a brighter and slightly heavier gain mode that does not utilize the tone knob. This mode inverts the signal just like the original and has symmetrical clipping. The OD1 is magical at boosting other drives or amps into singing saturation. If you guys don't know, the OD1 actually is not a Tube Screamer. The OD1 is actually a Boss pedal. So you're starting to see a little bit of the lineage of where the Tube Screamer sort of gets its guts from. All right, let's hear it. First of all, this is a Fender Super Reverb. Get the point, very sparkly. All right, let's engage what is now the OD1. Very spanky sounding. Very spanky. Let's try backing off the tone a little bit, see if we can get it sounding maybe a little bit less spanky there. right, that's pretty cool sounding. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. And guys, I'm sort of going through these kind of fast, and I'm going to try to play the same style of riffs to give you somewhat of an idea. I already have a little bit of a preconceived notation of what I feel my favorite one is, and we did actually get a click. I think it's if the pedal is engaged. Yeah. So if the pedal's engaged, you'll hear audible clicks. So that's something to consider. If you're going to change this setting, like in a gig or something, make sure the pedal's disengaged. All right, the 808. The classic low gain with that signature produced or pronounced mid-range. Maybe one day I will learn to read. Maybe then I can read music. I got to be able to read words before I can read music. Okay. You can definitely hear a mid-range hump in there. Very low gain. I mean, we've got the gain about halfway up. Let's see how much into the gain territory we can get in. I do like a little bit of crunch, but you got to think the Tube Screamer is really a pedal that, and I know this is a Bonsai, but it's inspired by the Tube Screamers, obviously, because of the circuits, but you really have to beat on the guitar to get some hair out of a Tube Screamer. And that's why Stevie was such a great player. Really, his playing was in this hand. Everybody thinks that's all left hand, but really beating the sound out of the guitar is how you get the Tube Screamers, in my opinion, to really go nuts. Now, we do have the gain up a little more hairy. We'll see how this sounds. Yeah, it gets into that territory. All right, that's your 808. TS9, nearly identical to the TS808, but with slightly more push low mid-range, okay? So a lot of people kind of buy into the whole snake oil of, oh, well, if you don't have a vintage TS808, oh, it's not as good, TS9's better, TS808 is better, and there's all these sound comparisons, and everybody's like, oh, well, to get the Stevie Ray sound, you got to buy this green box, that green box, oh, no, you're wrong, oh, no, you're wrong. Everybody's got an opinion. But, you know, as long as you get honestly, in my opinion, as long as you get an amp that has a good, clean sound and a nice, clean overhead with a bit of volume, and especially if you're starting to break into some entry-level compression on the amp, and then as long as you have, you know, in Stevie's case, a Strat with single coils, heavy-ish strings, and a heavy right hand, and you know the licks, I mean, it's pretty much there. Really, Stevie's sound is more in his technique and the fact that he's just beating the crap out of the guitar. So let's listen to the TS9. Yeah. Yeah. that sort of thing. It can get there. I mean, and really, guys, I'm going to be just kind of bluesing out on this because people are buying this pedal probably wanting that kind of Stevie Ray sound, but I mean, you can get sort of, like if you're looking for the kind of blues rock sort of rhythm sound or whatever, or, you know, even getting into the lead stuff. Let's get on the treble pickup. You can get into sort of, you know. That sort of thing. It can get crunchy. All right. The MSL. Though metal is in the name, this sound doesn't quite inspire the modern metal gent we think of. Still, it has higher gain sound with more low end and an overall gooier feel. And if you guys know about overdrives and what I like gooey. Let's see how this sounds. And we'll try to clean them up a little bit too. That is a beautiful sounding setting there. It is very dark. I agree. The assessment in the instructions is quite accurate. It is a gooey feel, but it does have that kind of, it does have a bit of a low end to it, which depending on your setting, you know, you may not like. All right, the TS10, this is the setting we're on now. This says made famous by John Mayer. This model is from the late 80s. It's a slight upgrade from the TS9, bluesy, crisp, more low-end roll-off, and low gain. Very cool. Let's see how this sounds. Got a kind of a bell-like overtone to it. I have to say, so far, I'm digging the TS10. That's a very cool setting. Of course, John has wonderful taste, so we can't blame him there. That's a great pedal. And you know, I do find it kind of neat, you know, and let me brag a little bit on John Mayer real quick. So the thing is, John's not exactly poor. Okay, so, he could use any drive pedal he wants, and I think it's quite funny. Whether he likes a pedal because it's beautiful and glorious, or whether he likes it because it's a sleeper and it's cheap and nobody knew about him before he made him popular, I think John's the kind of guy that could probably plug into a tin can with a speaker in it with a board with strings on it and probably make it sound good. So the TS10 is a wonderful sounding drive, and I think it's kind of cool. It's almost trollish of John to be like, oh, well, I could just do the Stevie thing and buy a vintage TS808 and just kind of nod right there. But you know what? I'll find another random Ibanez pedal, and I'll just make it famous. That's cool. Good for John. All right, the XR. The EXAR, or EXAR, is a Polish-made TS-style pedal that has a slightly different drive character with a little more gain than the classic Screamers, as well as a slightly more transparent feel. Oh, baby. Tell me it ain't so, because that just describes me. All right, let's see how it sounds. Polish, huh? All right, let's see. Oh, ha! I know my playing's a little sloppy, guys. I'm really trying to dig in with this thing, because really to get the sound out of these things, you got to pound on them a little bit. Okay, TS7. The hot mode of this version gives you the highest gain sound in the Bonsai. More low end and dirt fill out the tone to have you shredding away. Well then, we'll see how we feel here. Ooh, it's got some volume. You might want to. You good? It does have gain on tap, doesn't it? That's definitely a hot sound right there. I'm just tinkering, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, now we're on the, I do like that one. All right, now we're on the Keeley Mod Plus. Robert Keeley's classic mod tightens up the tone on the original, giving you smoother mid-range, high frequencies, and increased bass response. All right, well, Robert Keeley's not a light name to throw around, so let's see what happens here. All right, what immediately what this sound right here reminds me of is a blues driver. Reminds me of the Boss blues driver. It has that kind of sound to it, which is tight, focused, nice gain. Boy, that is a glorious sound right there. Cool. Get on the in-between setting, hear how it sounds. Very kind of, all of these are sort of low gainish. They're not in that kind of singing crazy characteristic. You got to really beat the crap out of these guitars to get any sound out of them. I mean, when I think, you know, craziness, you got to really beat the guitar. Okay, JHS Strong Mod. Saving the best for last, I see. Let's see. All right, our own mod that we've been doing since 2008. It's a much cleaner and overall more powerful. The mode has more pronounced high and low end drop-offs. So a very focused sound. We'll see how this sounds. Can I be honest? Not a big fan of that one. It's, hang on a second. Can you turn it just down? Like turn the volume down? It's kind of loud. There we go. Got a lot of top end on it. Doesn't clean up that great. I can't say I'm a fan of that one. I don't know, man. It's so hard to choose. I mean, all the sounds are great, you know what I mean? And we haven't tried it with different amps, different guitars. I mean, this is just a Strat going into a Super and then adding this over the top. Man, I have to say, I probably, out of all the ones that we've heard, the 808 and the TS10 are probably my two favorites. Can we refer back to those? All right, so this is the 808. Okay, look, the bloom of the notes is considerably different. I don't feel like there's some focus or anything. Like, in terms of what I'm hearing out of my amp versus what I'm putting into the guitar, the 808 to me has this sort of bloom. Does that make sense? Like a bloom to the sound. That's great. All right, and this is the 10. Yeah. Can we turn the volume up just a scotch on the pedal, please? Yeah. This pedal, when you hit that, the TS10, when you hit it, like it's got this low end kind of squash, and it still has that beautiful bloom that's in the 808. And I don't know, like it's got maybe just a little bit more kind of crunch to it that you hear sort of in the background. And I almost feel a little bit more of that clean coming through of my original signal. I don't know. I think out of the ones that I've heard, the ones that inspire me the most are the 808 and the TS10. I mean, if you were to blindfold me and then let me hear them, I don't know if I'd come to the same conclusion. It could just be a mental thing where you feel like those are the ones that you should like, you know. But I have to say that the EXAR definitely has a very cool sound for the kind of high gain thing. All right, so let's hear the TS10 just a little bit more. It's hard to decide, man. But the cool thing about this pedal is if you buy the one pedal, you get all the sounds. So if there's a couple that you don't like, well, just don't use them. And I think that's sort of what they were going for. I mean, JHS, they probably thought, okay, well, I mean, if people like all these different tube screamers, why not just put them in one box? I think it's pretty clever for them to do that. And, you know, you might have your favorites that you use all the time, but then you might also be able to use some of the other settings for something that, it may not be something that you would integrate, let's just say, into your rig or what you would use all the time. However, if you just need a certain kind of sound and you need access to that sound, it's just a flick of a switch away, which is pretty cool. I like this pedal. It seems to be constructed really well. Yeah, good stuff. So guys, we hope that you enjoyed watching today's video. Remember, we post every Monday and Friday here on Guitarsenal. Make sure you click the notification bell so you get our videos. And this has been the JHS Pedals Bonsai by way of Atlanta Discount Music. And yes, I did cheat and read the instructions because I didn't want to tell you guys bad information. So there it is. Right here, we're on the TS10 setting. I like it. I like the 808. And the beauty is, I like those two settings. And if I buy this pedal, guess what? You've got them all in one box, which is pretty cool. I'm going to make a little bit more noise, and we'll let you guys get back to your day.